بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Last time we studied of course, Sister Tahira, we are in the second book now. We started from yesterday, the second book of the Halaqat, the second volume. And we studied the definition of Ilm al-Usul. And if you remember, we said in the definition that it's the science of what?
Derivation.
The science?
Procedure.
Derivation of the common.
Yeah, but there is something that leads into derivation. The knowledge of
Common element.
exactly common elements. Common elements that are used in the process of derivation of the Shari'i ruling. The common elements. Who can tell me one example of common elements? One example of them.
Public opinion.
Exactly. The validity of the public opinion. The validity. Okay? حجية الظهور العرفي. The validity, the authority, the credibility of the apparent meaning. What does the public opinion understands from the apparent meaning and the normal usage of this term? So Sharia says, I approve that. I give validity and a credit and value to this. Gives value to حجية الظهور العرفي, the validity of the apparent meaning.
Is there a weight between the different common elements? Meaning, we give more weight to public opinion
No. Then what?
than other,
No. They are the same.
because public understanding of a word changes with time.
We consider that. We will come to it. We are just giving the headlines. As we progress higher and higher, we're going to go into details and we're going to debate and we're going to bring this issue. This is why, if you remember, we said we have to understand when the hadith is said by the Imam al-Sadiq, we have to realize what was the public opinion and the understanding of the people at that time. The time of the hadith, not now. The time of the hadith, okay? What is another example of common elements?
Trustworthiness. we mentioned.
Exactly. The validity of the narration of someone who's
Khabar al-thiqa.
trustworthy. Why, Sister Tahira, we say the validity of khabar al-thiqa, of someone who is trustworthy, we have to accept it from him. Why?
Because even if he sometimes by mistake or
Absolutely. Although he's trustworthy, but sometimes he does mistake. But the lawgiver, the Sharia or the Shari' says it's okay, you have to accept it. You can't assume every time he speaks, oh, you are mistaken, you have an error, you forgot, you misled, you whatever. You can't, because you can't accept anything from him. So we give it validity. So these are elements. Today we come to something else. So that was the definition of Ilm al-Usul. Today we come to the subject matter. موضوع. In Arabic is called موضوع. موضوع. What is the subject matter? My friends, every science usually has an essential subject matter on which all its topics are centered. For instance, what is the subject matter of grammar? Let's say Arabic grammar. What is the subject matter of it? We work on what?
words.
The words, exactly. The language, the words. Okay? What is the subject matter of Physics.
Matter.
Matter, exactly. Because all our discussion is revolved around matter. What is the subject matter of this science? Ilm al-Usul. What is it? What are we discussing here?
Logic?
The,
Evidence?
Yeah. Dr. Ali said it.
the rulings.
The subject matter is common element, evidences. In the definition, we discussed the common elements. Here, the subject matter is common evidences. What is the difference between them?
So the subject matter of
Ilm al-Usul. No.
Oh.
Usul.
Ilm.
Usul. The subject matter of Usul is the evidences, not just evidences, the common evidences that we use them in every process of derivation. So what is the difference between A and B? What is the difference between common elements, al-anasir, al-mushtaraka, and al-adilla? Common evidences is al-adilla, al-mushtaraka. What is the difference between them?
That's the source. B is the source. A is the principle or the procedure that you use.
Exactly. Imagine someone who's having a surgery, and there is a surgeon standing. The common evidences is the body of the patient. He has to work on it. When someone is called surgeon and he has a surgery on what? You are working on what? His answer, I'm working on a human body, human organs. This is my subject. However, the common elements, in order for me to operate and to fix this body, I need tools.
Just a procedure.
Exactly. I need tools. I need a procedure. And in this procedure, I use tools. Okay? These tools are the common elements. So this is the difference between common elements and common evidences. The common evidence or evidences is the body of the patient, while the common elements, the tools that I use in every procedure, in every operation, not in one and then I throw it away. In every operation, these are essential tools. I call them common elements. Okay? So this is the difference. This is the difference between elements and evidences. So common elements are the definition of ilm al-usul. Ilm al-usul discusses common elements. Common elements on what? Common elements on common evidences. That is the subject of it. Are you with me, Dr. Ali?
Yeah.
Huh?
I hope so.
Yeah. The definition of ilm al-usul. When someone says, listen, explain to me, what is ilm al-usul? We tell him, ilm al-usul, you have to know these tools. If you don't know the tools, you cannot extract. With bare hand, you can't do anything. You must have these tools. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we call them common because in every operation you need them. In every operation you need them. Common between operations. Used in all operations. Now, okay, I have the tools. Where I am digging, the surgeon says where? The tools, using them on the wall? They say no, not on the wall, on the body, human body. Where does the faqih dig with his tools? Exactly. Now, the next question, what are the evidences here? Exactly. 4. They say the evidences are number 1, Quran. Okay? Number 1, Quran. Followed by what? Hadith. Number 3 is what? Number 4 is reason.
Oh, معقل.
Aql. But number 3 is what?
The non-spoken,
Oh, yeah, consensus, ijma.
Ijma. Okay? Ijma. Consensus, it's near agreement, near full agreement. That's the meaning of consensus. Okay? So here they say that ilm al-usul, the subject of ilm al-usul, the subject matter, is studying the common evidences that we are going to use in the process of derivation. In the process of derivation, extracting the fatwa, extracting the answer from 4 sources. These are the 4 sources. These are the common, we call them common. Common what, my friend? Say that again. Common evidences. These are not common elements. Common elements are different, my friends. Common elements, we spoke about that in the last lesson. Common elements are حجية الظهور العرفي. I use it in every process. Sharia tells me what is ظهور, what is the apparent meaning. I give validity to it. حجية خبر الثقة. When someone brings me khabar, I don't question him every time. No, that's it. If he's thiqah, if he's trustworthy, if he's not, forget about him. Okay? Or we studied something else yesterday. We repeated that, we kept repeating it, we put it here. It has 2 branches. Exactly. ظهور صيغة الأمر في الوجوب. Meaning that when there is amr, a sentence that has do, what does I understand or regular people understand from do? They say the apparent meaning of it is mandatory, you must do. Unless stated otherwise. Unless you can bring qarina, indication that no, he did not mean 100% do. He says it's better to do. Or ظهور صيغة النهي في you said it yesterday. حرمة. And then when I say no, صيغة النهي, no, I said no. Okay? What do I mean by no? First, what comes to my mind spontaneously is that it's forbidden. If I want to say no, it's not forbidden, it's near forbidden, it's better not to do it, I have to indicate that somewhere. This is also common elements. We use them on a daily basis. In every mas'ala you need to use it. In every mas'ala, almost every mas'ala, almost. Okay? There is another common element. They call it shuhra. الشهرة. Not shuhra khanum, huh? الشهرة. Popularity. What does it mean, popularity? What do you think?
Popular opinion? It's kind of like public opinion, right?
Of whom? People? No.
Mujtahids.
Exactly. The jurist, the community of the jurist. The hadith, they give a credibility to a hadith if that hadith is common with them, acceptable. They call it shuhra. The hadith is popular. We depend on it. We use it. So this is an indication that the hadith is acceptable. You can trust the hadith. When it becomes mashhur, shuhra. Okay? So this means that this tradition, because it builds up slowly, and it does not build up from vacuum. Definitely they have some reasons to accept it, to become mashhur. This is also one of the common elements. We use it sometimes. Maybe not every time, maybe 80% of the times. We use it in the process of derivation of the hadith. This is another tool, another common tool.
Does this common element say shura can lead to the public opinion common element or not really?
This is different than common opinion.
It can't lead to
common opinion, it means الظهور العرفي. What does عرف, public opinion, understand from this?
Well, a lot of times it's
But that one is shuhra. The hadith, they accept it. They rely upon it. It's popular in their circles. This is different.
any different, but I meant to know when people learn this,
Yeah.
then that may become the public opinion, right?
Yeah. See, this is why sometimes you find the opinion, it says, المشهور لدى الفقهاء such and such and such. It's popular among scholars that this is haram, this is halal, this is mustahab, this is makruh. It's popular. They say al-mashhur. You can go, we can see it even in shara'i'. وَلَدَى al-mashhur, they say. It's popular. So they give, when they say it's mashhur, then you have to agree with it because it does not come from vacuum. They have a reason to make it popular. Okay? Like, you are a doctor. Let me give you this. Give you this. Some types of medicines are popular with the community of doctors.
Yeah.
Most of the doctors, they mention them. They prescribe them. They probably trust them. Okay? So when another doctor comes to the market, he finds out that, wow, 99% of the doctors they depend on this. It must be a good product. Otherwise, they would not. This is the same in fiqh.
Yeah.
Okay? It gives credibility to that hadith or to that particular opinion. So this is also common elements. Okay?
What's the
Yeah.
literal translation of shuhra?
Shuhra, popularity.
Just popularity?
Yeah.
Popular,
Sure, popularity. Yeah. Okay. So now we understand that they are common evidences. But then we have a problem here. If you are smart, you can tell me where is the problem. They said Quran, Hadith, consensus, and reason. But what did we study earlier? We studied that if I am a jurist and I try to find an answer, someone asked me a question, or I came across a situation, an precedented situation, nobody said anything about it, halal or haram. Okay? Then I come, where is my first arena to search? Quran and Hadith. Okay? Quran and Hadith. Now if I don't find them in Quran and Hadith, neither in consensus, nor let's say in reason, if I don't find an evidence, where is my second option?
Analogy?
Procedure principle.
Exactly. Exactly. أصول العملية. We said when you don't find an evidence, a certain evidence, a definite evidence, then your second area, you resort to where? Because you could not find an evidence. How much time you spend? No answer. The hadith says nothing about it, completely silent. The Quran completely silent. So where do you go? You tell the guy, I have no answer? You can't tell him I have no answer. You are a doctor. The doctor has to have an answer. So you go to usul al-amaliyya, procedural principles. Usul al-amaliyya, you remember them. Procedural principles, al-usul al-amaliyya. Can you give me one example of usul al-amaliyya? The principle of
Was it exemption?
Ihtiyat. Caution. The other, what? Exemption, bara'at. Okay? What else? Can you give me another name? That we know this happened for certain, but we reach a point, we start having doubt. What do we do?
Continue.
Exactly. Continuity. No. The presumption of continuity, istishab. Istishab. Yes, sister. Istishab. Okay. Istishab. Good try, Sister Tahira. Yeah, try. This is also, these are procedural principles. When do we use procedural principles?
When there's no evidence.
Exactly. Now, when there are no evidence. Now, these procedural principles, Do they bring certainty?
No.
No.
No. This is not dalil qat'i. This is dalil what?
Zanni?
Dhanni, exactly. Dalil al-dhanni. Speculative evidence. Dalil al-dhanni. Ad-dalil al-dhanni. So these answers are not, we cannot say these answers are 100%, they meet God's answers. No. We say this is a path, we are following it. God said in the absence of evidence, go to these. But their dalil is not qat'i. While the first one, the Quran and the Hadith, is the dalil qat'i or not? Most likely it's qat'i. You have the answer there. Someone goes to the Imam al-Sadiq, he says, Ya Imam, Ya ibn Rasulullah, what shall I do in this case? Imam tells him, do this and this. So clear-cut answer. Okay, what do we call that one? Definite. Definite answer, certain answer. Okay? While this one, this is dalil qat'i. If the Quran and the Hadith are involved, dalil is definite evidence. But this is not definite evidence. We call it speculative evidence. So which one comes first? We studied 3 weeks ago. When we have ta'arud, conflict between dalil, when I say dalil, it means from there. A text written, Quran or Hadith. Or it conflict with procedural principle, aslul amali. Which one comes first? Why dalil comes first?
Because that is certain.
Exactly. Dalil is certain, 100%. While this one, no, this is not certain. This is dhann. This is suppositional evidence or speculative evidence. Dalil dhanni. Okay? I have to follow it. Sharia tells me follow it. But the power of it, the value of it is not like that one. Okay, let me ask you something else. What do we do when two evidences clash with each other? Someone goes to the Imam. One time the Imam says, do this. Another time the Imam says, don't do this.
One of them is wrong.
One of them is wrong. How do we know?
Don't we eliminate both?
No.
No.
If both of them are strong, they are eliminated. But we have to reconcile. Do you remember the process of reconciliation? We studied that in few steps. We said if one of them is definite, the other is not. The other has dhuhur, the apparent meaning of it. But that one is definite. Which one comes first? Exactly, the definite. Not the one that has dhuhur. One of them is specific. The other has dhuhur. So we take the specific. Specific is making my job easier. That's it. Telling me specifically, listen, I want you to do this. There is no way you can get away with it. You must do it. Then this is wajib. Okay? So this is very specific. So I put specific first. Or if one of them was what? General, and the other is what? Khas, specific. So which one comes first? Khas? Well, what is the example of that? And khas, they clash with each other. The hadith that is it says usury, interest, riba is haram. The khas says unless it's between the father and the son. So this is khas. We take this one. Okay? Or unless it's between, let's say, other types. We don't want to mention them. Okay? So this is khas. Sometimes it's mutlaq and muqayyad. Mutlaq and restricted. Muqayyad is restricted. We go to the restricted one. Sometimes it is hakim and mahkum. Hukuma. Do you remember we called it hukuma? One of them overrules the other. overrules, dominates the others. Now, my friends, these usul, what do we call them? We call this one evidence, dalil. Look at here. Dalil. Dalil. When it is the dalil, when it comes from Quran and Hadith, it's dalil. Versus usul. But the asl also has another meaning. Do you remember what was it? The asl has another meaning. We studied that.
What do you mean to say that it has another meaning other than
Asl. Other than asl. You-
other than us? What
Yeah,
is the
yeah,
meaning?
yeah. A relation. See, we have dalil. Dalil is evidence. Dalil could be specific, definite, okay, very strong, 100%. It could be 80%. It's not. It's apparent. Does not have that value. This is dalil. But asl, in case there is no dalil, once you don't have dalil, you go to the asl. But the asl also has a name. When you put it in front of dalil, it has a name. Versus dalil. What is versus dalil? What is versus dalil is a sign. Amara. 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 Sign. A sign. Okay? A sign. A sign. Amara. Okay? Now, my friends, please look at me. We said the subject matter of ilm al-usul is what? Don't look at the board. Try to remember.
Say evidence?
Evidences. And we said there are how many evidences? 4. But someone comes and says, hey, wait a minute. It's not only 4 evidences. In the absence of these evidences, where do we go to? We go to, so this one is also included in the subject. Not only these. Okay? So it's not just the evidences that are. Evidences plus what? Procedural principles. Because these are not considered evidences. These are evidences. These are not evidences. These are procedural principles. You can't call them evidence. Evidence is when you have something solid. These are not solid. Why not solid? These are dalil dhanni. These are, you reach them through calculation. You reach them when you have doubt. These things, you resort to them when you have doubt. When you don't find an evidence, you have to reach. So through calculation, you reach them. So it's not an evidence. Okay? Like criminology, crime. Crime, he can find something. He says, no, look at, this is my evidence. I saw some, blood here. I saw a knife. I saw a gun. But sometimes he doesn't see. It's his speculation. He speculates. He didn't see an evidence. Speculation that leads him into the answer. And this speculation could be right and could be what? Wrong. Okay? The same thing with that. These are dalil dhanni. This is why whenever we can find an evidence, we don't even mention this. Khalas, we scrap this. We mentioned that, remember? When they clash, we say, we don't even look at this because I have evidence. Why should I go through speculation? Why? I should not go through speculation. قُلْ هَاتُوا بُرْهَانَكُمْ. Quran says, bring the evidence. Yes, in case there is no evidence, I go to this. So in ilm al-usul, we do not, because some authors, they used to say only we study the evidences. Shahid al-Sadr, he says, not just the evidences, you are also studying in usul al-fiqh, studying the procedural principles, which we do not call them evidences, but however, they also contribute in the process of derivation. Okay?
Say, do they have to, for the faqih, do they have to define, obviously they have to bring their evidences, but for for the usage of the procedural principles, do they have to detail how they got to the answer?
Of course.
And is that like in the book of fiqh, they walk you through that?
See, when you study Bahthul Kharij, that is the highest level of open discussion. This is the training when they train you for ijtihad. When you finish these preliminary books, you finish them, Sutuh, Muqaddamat, first Muqaddamat, Arabic literature, Arabic language, Arabic grammar, mantiq, logic, you have to study. These are Muqaddamat. Then you come to Sutuh, this one, this subject, fiqh and usul and others. Then when you finish these, they prepare you now, they train you how to derive in the process of ijtihad. Okay? In that stage, he brings his argument and he dissects it. Just like the professor when he teaches, when they dissect a body, and he showed it to his students. So he tells you, he goes through this process step by step. And then he says, either I used evidence, if the evidence is Quran, where is it? How do you prove that this is a strong evidence for your answer? If not, because sometimes the Quran, you can bring something here, but there is another ayah there that terminates this one. You should not have, even with hadith. With hadith, when you bring the hadith, you can't say, oh, good news, I found the hadith. Sometimes you can find another hadith that opposes this one. So how do you reconcile? You have to go through that. If not, then he comes to this. He says, in this case, we apply istishab. We presume the continuum. In this case, no, aslul bara'ah. We use aslul bara'ah. In that case, we use aslul ihtiyat. Okay? These are amarat, signs.
And that's where the different faqihs, the jurists,
Absolutely.
deviate.
That
or
one.
not deviate, but they...
Yeah, they differ. In Hajj, in Zakat, when they come to music, let's say, why do we have different answers? When they come to certain types of food, products, we have different answers. According to this faqih, they use these. Usually they use these. Because if the answer is found here, they can find it. Most of them, they can find it. But once they don't find the answer here, most of the differences arise from this, procedural principles, when they apply procedural principles. Okay? And also, of course, the hadith, because some of them, they say, we differ. We, the Shia and the Sunnis, they differ. We differ because of the hadith. For them, it's acceptable. For us, it's not acceptable. For us, it's acceptable. For them, it's not acceptable, because we examine the chain of narrators one by one. If we find one of them who's not credible, boom, we dump like the batteries today. Dump them, recycle them. So this is why sometimes the disagreement is here before it goes there. It's in this area, especially the hadith. And I gave an example of Quran last night, the wiping. So they start from there. Even when it comes to how do you understand this verse? How do you understand it? How do you take it? So sometimes even the differences are here. Okay? So he says, the author says that, Sayyid al-Sadr, he says, the subject matter, not only the evidences, but it has to cover procedural principles. So then he says the subject matter of usul al-fiqh, common evidences plus what? Plus procedural principles. Should we stop here or continue? Stop? I don't want to bombard you with, What do you think?
This is good because it's a review, so this was good.
Yeah? Let me say one more thing, just very brief. What is the difference between usul and fiqh? If someone asks you, listen, you have two classes. One of them is usul al-fiqh, the other is fiqh. What's the difference between them?
Usul is the process, and then the fiqh is the output. of the
Exactly,
process.
exactly. This is the surface meaning. You tell him, usul, I learned the methodology. While fiqh, it's the outcome. But he says, okay, explain more. What do you mean methodology? What do you mean the outcome?
So fiqh is like the evidence that you reach.
Hmm?
Sort of. It's the evidence that you reach. the state.
There is a difference between them. There is a technical difference.
Usul is the logic of fiqh.
Exactly. Logic of fiqh. It gives logic and teaches us methodology. The methodology of ijtihad. It has methodology. It has a process. We have to go through that. Ijtihad is not anarchy. Oh, I love this ayah. I incline towards this opinion. This is what many people are doing that. Why they are doing this halal and haram? Well, because it makes sense. Makes sense to whom? You can't say it makes sense, you know. Definitely it makes sense, but you need a methodology to say that, okay? But there is a major difference. In usul al-fiqh, my friends, what do we study? We study, it is the study, the science of the common elements. Why did we call them common?
They can be used in every
Exactly.
process.
In every process. They are not private, they are common. And we always give the example of the tools that a mechanic or a surgeon uses. Some of these tools always with him because he needs them in every process, in every surgery, in every operation. Others, it's used in one surgery, but not in others. So in usul, we study the common elements that comes and engages in every process of derivation. We study only these elements. While in fiqh, what do we study in fiqh? We study specific elements. What is specific elements? Can you give me an example?
An ayah.
Exactly. Specific ayah, specific hadith that is applied only to this case, not to other cases, only to this case. This is the difference. Fiqh zooms in, while usul is bigger. Usul, you study common elements. Fiqh, you study specific element. Specific element that applies only to this situation.
So the father-son usury.
Exactly, exactly. Only, you can't use it somewhere else. You can't use this hadith somewhere else. It would not help you. Why? Because somewhere else is another situation. It requires another answer. So that's the main difference between usul al-fiqh and fiqh. وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد.